Good afternoon, everyone. Nancy Anderberg here. I'm actually out on a walk with my dog, Daisy, the cutest old English bulldog in the universe. In fact, if you don't follow her on social media, you should. On Facebook, her page, Daisy Jane the Bulldog. That's on Facebook and also on Instagram. So we're out for a walk, and I'm really reflecting on a lot of things today. I'm reflecting on just things I've gone through, things that I'm going through, things that have happened through my career life, through my family life, as a mother, as a single mom for the last 10 years, except for a 1-year little stint that was quite damaging to me, personally, financially, emotionally. And that's something that I've really been reflecting on lately, because it's come to surface a few times. And so there's certain things in our life that we need to really take a close look and self-evaluate. You know, I always do a self-check. You know, I encourage everyone to look in the mirror, and sometimes that's a hard thing to do. Look in the mirror and really ask yourself, what direction am I headed in? Am I moving towards my purpose or away from it? Am I being honest with myself, or am I thinking I'm choosing positivity, but really I'm just going into imagination to escape from the reality of things? And I bet a few of you this strikes home, and it does for me too sometimes. And so that's why I wanted to talk about it today with you, as my dog is pulling me away, all 60 pounds of her. So, you know, I really, one of the things that's gotten me through some really tough times in my life is just choosing positivity and choosing to trust God. And as a result of it, maybe I just chose that positivity because as a young child, I learned to just quote unquote turn the channel. And I had to do that in order to separate from some painful things as I was growing up with an alcoholic mother and other things. But I kept that little tool, a tool that I used to protect myself, in my back pocket all these years. And now I feel like the Lord is really bringing it forefront in my life, because people always say, wow, you're so strong, and wow, you're so positive. And, you know, honestly, I you know, my faith is my strength, nothing to my own glory at all. And those of you that know me, you know, you know that I do have struggles. We all have struggles. And part of the thing that has really been hitting me hard is, what is my purpose? And why do we go through the things we go through? And you guys, if you don't know who Mod Son is, most of you probably don't, but he's from Minnesota. He's known kind of as a hippie guy. He's like all about, you know, smoking weed and stuff, but which is, you know, whatever. I'm not judging him. But he recently put out a YouTube video about his testimony and how he was telling everyone how he's hiding his addictions and what he's done with it since then. And it's been just a handful of months. And it really hit home, because although I've never had addictions, I've never been a big drinker, I've never used drugs, I've never done any of that stuff. In fact, I've chosen to stay naive to it. But in my, you know, in the presence of choosing that, there were some things that happened in my life that I think I could have really noticed the red flags, but I just chose to turn my head and quote unquote be positive. And so this has to deal with the marriage, where I was married a few years ago just for 1 year. And this is, you know, I'm being pretty vulnerable to talk to you about this, as I am on this show. But it was really such a horrific thing to me, and has changed me. I've become much more secluded, recluse almost. It appears that I'm out and about all the time, but I just post when I do fun things. But honestly, I keep to myself pretty much. And, you know, I have a lot of things going and working on a lot of things. And my children, of course, are number one, and my dog Daisy. But anyway, I've really been looking at this whole situation and what I went through 3 years ago. And I don't want to ever fall into that situation again of being, quote unquote, a codependent. Now, when people told me that in the past, that they thought I was possibly codependent, I just got super pissed off because I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't need anybody. I'm strong. I'm this, I'm that. And that's that tough girl mode that kicked in when I was a young little girl, because it had to, in order for me to survive many things and things I saw and things that were happening around me. I chose to be a tough girl. I chose to be strong. And in reality, I was a little hurting girl that I just wanted to be chosen and protected and safe. And I think as we grow up, I think even at 53, we still want to be safe and chosen and protected. But that can only really happen when we make the right choices. And so I made some bad choices. And you know, even though God forgives us of things, there are consequences. There are just consequences to choices we make in life. It's all good. It's all, you learn from it, hopefully. But in it all, there's got to be a purpose for me. That's just how I make sense of things. And so I believe things happen because we choose them. I think there are consequences, but I do believe that God can turn all things for good. And so the trauma that I went through and the abuse I went through in this short marriage and the loss of finances and, even my home, believe it or not, it was pretty crazy. I need to learn and I need to share the story because I know it can help someone else. Because people that are addicts are master manipulators and masterful liars. And for people like me that, I just want to save the world kind of thing. But the thing is, you have to protect yourself and save yourself first and get into the reality of listening for those signals, watching those red flags. And when they come up, don't just brush them aside. Don't just go, I'm going to choose to think positive and choose to think the best, and really pay attention to that gut check. Okay. So if you have a gut check and there's some things going on, like if your husband or your, live-in boyfriend or whatever won't give you access to see what they're doing on Facebook, that's a red flag. They're hiding something, okay? If they're staying up all night and they're on the computer at all these weird hours, there's something weird going on there, okay? I mean, I just chose to always think in a positive way, and it ended up really hurting me. And as a result, it affected me and affected my children, and that, I'm really sad about that, and I'm really sorry about that. Because emotionally it was quite traumatizing. And I'm not going to get into the details because I don't want to smear his name because he's sick. He's sick. He's mentally ill and he has addictions, and addictions cause mental illness even more. So anyway, the whole point of this message for today is if you have a gut feeling something is off in your relationship, in your friendships, pay attention. Don't brush it off. Don't just choose to be quote unquote positive. Check it out. Go with your gut. Talk to a friend about it and be honest with yourself. Look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Is this feel right? Is this the direction I should be going? And don't ever believe that you have no other options or it's too late or you're too old. Because at 53, I had to start my life completely over again. At 50 actually, and not easy because it's like the third time doing this deal, and I'm tired of it, right? But I keep choosing people that don't treat me right and that have issues, and I'm stopping that cycle. Because I'm learning to love myself and really be wise in what God has for me, because everything that I do affects people around me, affects my children, and I want to be a positive impact in this world. And the choices that I have made in the past, I want to honor God and turn all for good to help others. And so that's my topic for today, and there is a lot more coming after this, but just wanted to give you a tip to pay attention. Look in the mirror, be honest with yourself. Don't be afraid to reach out and talk to someone. And Just love yourself. All right, you go, girls. Rock on. Fit for raw, real authentic women. Talk to you later.